Hey guys, so this is gonna be the last video for this trip. Not my last video ever, just for this trip, so don't be too terribly sad. But it is a little bit sad. This trip is over now. Sorry I didn't put up a video last week. I was super busy and I put up that dance video, little hiatus video, whatever. But that was why I was so busy, because I was getting ready for our competition that we held. The dance team that I help coach, we host a competition every year, and that was on Saturday last week, and it takes a lot of work to put it together, so again, sorry, but I got other things I do in my life too. But back to the videos. So where we left off last is we were at that hostel where we were all by ourselves. So the next day we turned in the key where we were told to. We actually saw people. We were like, oh wow, there are people around. And we got up kind of late in the morning, so we decided just to go straight to our next destination, which was Cork. We were going to spend a little bit of time in the southern part of Ireland. So went to Cork, and Cork's a pretty cute town. I don't know if we were there during the rainy season. I think Ireland's just really rainy in general, so I don't even know when the official rainy season is. But it was pretty drizzly all the time. But it was alright. It wasn't like pouring down rain every single day. It was just kind of misting all the time. But it gives it kind of a little bit of a gloomy, not a haze, but just a little gloomy attitude around there. But it was alright. Cork was pretty cute. We found our hostel, and we had a car at this point. Obviously we're driving, and so parking is usually kind of a nightmare, and it ended up being not super great our second day in Cork, I think. But the first day we lucked out, and the hostel had like a parking space for someone that worked there or something that wasn't working, so they're like, oh, you can totally park there for free. We got our room. It was a 6-person room, and we got all settled in, had lunch, and then we headed for Blarney Castle. We were only going to be in Cork for a couple of days, so we wanted to do things in the surrounding area like as soon as possible. So we went to Blarney Castle, which was like 20 minutes away, and it was really beautiful. So many different colors of green. It was ridiculous. It was mostly just green. There was very few other colors there, but it was still just gorgeous. The castle itself was really cool. It's ruins. It's not like a castle that's still inhabited or anything, or is like completely put together. So there's like vines and moss and stuff growing on everything, and the area around the castle was really beautiful as well. And so we viewed the castle like inside and went up to the top. It was kind of expensive, but we thought, well, we're only going to be here for a few more days and then we're going home, so we're okay. We'll have enough food for a couple of days, or enough money for food for a couple of days. So we paid the expensive admission and walked around like the inside of the castle, which was totally trippy because there's like floors that are gone. I think there's a picture of a fireplace, and it looks like it's floating on the second story, but it's just because there was a wooden floor evidently that is now gone. So there's just no separation between the levels anymore. And then we climbed up the super narrow stairs that had a rope for you to hold on to. We climbed up there to get to the top where you kiss the Blarney Stone, and it was kind of weird because you kiss it upside down. You like lay down and you arch your back, and so your head's like, there's a picture of Dodger doing it, but your head's upside down, and there's some old guy that's just holding your legs, making sure you don't fall. And there's like a metal grate underneath it, so you can't actually fall, but your stuff can fall, so they make you like take off sunglasses and wallet and whatever and like hold it so that it doesn't just fall down, I don't know, to the area below. But really cool view from the top. And then after we went up top to kiss the Blarney Stone, we kind of wandered around the grounds. We saw badger caves, that's how they were labeled. And we saw a druid circle, also labeled as a druid circle. We wouldn't have known what it was otherwise. And then just other random outbuildings, like ruins of outbuildings, and really cool plants and trees and stuff. So yeah, it was pretty cool day. We went back, and I think we just had a chill night. We really wanted to see some traditional Irish music at a pub, and this is, again, we were kind of trying to splurge a little bit on stuff we wouldn't have paid for earlier in the trip because, again, only there for a few more days. So we were like, okay, beers are expensive at a pub, but we'll go out anyway because we want to have the experience of going to an Irish pub and hearing some traditional Irish music, but we couldn't really find anything. So we ended up just strolling around like Cork City Centre, which was fine. And we went back to our hostel, and I got a good night's sleep. But again, 6-person room, that means there were 2 strangers in the room with us. And they were perfectly pleasant. We met them earlier in the day. But I have to mention our hostel had a bar of its own. And apparently those 2 people got really, really drunk. And I knew none of this until the next day. And one of the boys, Jared or Tyler, I'm not going to tell you which one, but one of the boys is the one that told me this bad experience because Dodger and I shared a bunk bed. One of us on the top bunk, one of us on the bottom, but the 2 strangers had already claimed 2 bottom bunks. So the boys had to sleep on 2 top bunks above the strangers. And those strangers decided to get really drunk and be very noisy and had drunken shenanigans, and I'll let you figure out what that means, and kept one of the boys up all night long. And our room was so gross the next day. It smelled like alcohol and cigarettes and just sweaty, gross people. It was disgusting. We were thoroughly grossed out, and we're pretty accommodating people. I mean, you've heard all these stories. We've dealt with crazy snoring people that we've had to roll, or someone had to roll over, and other crazy snoring people, and just crazy people in general. But this was like, we drew the line. I don't know if it's because we were really tired or what, but the next day I was informed about it because I had no idea. I was on a nice cozy bunk without shenanigans going on below me. And so the next day we went to Kinsale in the morning, and I'll get back to the shenanigans later. We went to Kinsale, which is a little tiny coastal town that's south of Cork, and I had read that it was like the gourmet food capital of County Cork, something like that. So I was like, oh, we should go, and then we can go out to lunch, and it'd be cute. And it was cute, but we got there really early in the morning, and so there wasn't really a lot open, so we just had a nice time strolling around in the mist. And we did eat out at a cute little bar. It was kind of spendy for what it was, but, you know, whatever. We were just hanging out. Went back to our hostel, and we complained to the front desk. Now, I'll complain, like, to you guys, oh, this sucked, or I'll complain to my family or friends, but I'm typically not the kind of person that would, I wouldn't send food back in a restaurant or something, but this situation was different. We were just so frustrated with these 2 crazy people, and so we told the front desk what happened, and they were horrified that we had to deal with those shenanigans, and so they were like, oh my gosh, we need to get you a different room. So they gave us a 4-person room with a private bathroom. Amazing. It was so great. So we got that second night, no more money either. We didn't have to pay extra money, even though that was a more expensive room. They didn't charge us anymore. It was awesome. It was so cool. And this hostel was really cool too, by the way. It had a ginormous kitchen and a really big dining area, free internet. It was a cool place. We really liked it. So we made ourselves a really awesome dinner. And then we did actually, I think we asked someone, I don't remember, but we did find out a pub to go to that was going to have some traditional Irish music. So we went, and we got there kind of early so we could find a place to sit. Although we were really dumb and we sat kind of far away from where the music was going to be because we did not imagine that the pub would get as crowded and noisy as it did, and it got super crowded and super noisy, so we couldn't even hear the music, but it was all okay. It was a great pub. It was really dim in there. We took a few pictures, but I'm not going to put them up because it was just too dim. They're really weird looking, but there's just it's like candlelight everywhere practically. And I had gone to the restroom at one point. There was the 4 of us. We all got a round of drinks. I went to the restroom. When I came back, there were all these other people sitting at our table with us, and apparently they were from our hostel. There was an American guy, a guy from British Columbia in Canada, and then 2 Belgians. And it was hilarious because we just sat and visited with them as if we had known them for a long time. They were really cool people. The guy, the American who's from Arkansas, he bought me and my brother another round of drinks, which was so nice of him. He was super generous, very loud too. And the guy from British Columbia, Dodger, and I sat and talked to him forever. He was right around Dodger's age at the time. He was like 19. And he said that he had been observing our whole group when we were in the hostel, because we spent a lot of time in the kitchen and we were cooking. We're pretty good cooks, so we were cooking some really good smelling food. And he said he was super jealous. He was listening to us argue about what to cook, and he was just jealous. You know, we were arguing about whether or not to cook pasta or rice or something, and he says, all I could think was, you jerks have rice, because he was eating like frozen pizzas and stuff. So it was pretty funny. We were all cracking up, having a good time, and those guys wanted to go bar hopping, but we decided not to. So we all of us, they had drank plenty. So I think it was like 8 of us, went back to our hostel and hung out in our hostel bar for a little bit longer. And probably till about 1 a.m., just all visiting with each other. It was a really good time. And the next day, we took off pretty early and set out for Rock of Cashel, which I think a lot of people, when they see pictures of it, if they don't know what it is, they think it's a castle, but it's actually a collection of religious buildings. And so there's like, separate churches and different cemeteries and towers and things like that. So we got some really cool pictures of that. We took a guided tour. It wasn't like anything spectacular like other castles and things we'd seen, but it was still cool. Like when you've seen so many, we've been there for like 2 months and we'd seen so many different things, you're not surprised. Not that it's not cool, you're just not surprised anymore. But it was really neat, and there was a beautiful countryside around it. And after that, we kept on driving and headed straight to Dublin. We were gonna do a couple of other things, but we decided, we'll just keep going. We'll just go straight back to Dublin. We were staying in a different hostel this time for our very last night in Europe. And so Jared and I dropped off Dodger and my brother at the hostel. And then we drove and had our adventure trying to figure out how to drop off the car. It was almost like Rome all over again. We could not figure out how to get to the place where we were supposed to drop off the car, because it was like one-way streets leading away from it. And so we finally figured it out, and then we walked the whole way back, which I think it was the opposite side of town. There's a river dividing town. So I was just dumb. I didn't really realize like where car drop versus hostel, like I don't know, live and learn. So I know better now. But we had a really good talk and walk, and we were just kind of reflecting on the trip and, talking about things we liked, things we didn't like, and we were all pretty ready to go home, although I knew from experience from a previous trip that once I got home and recharged my batteries, I'd be ready to go back. But still, we were all pretty ready to go home. We were tired. And so got back to our hostel, we had ourselves a good dinner, and we left like our cooking supplies, because we had like a bottle of olive oil and some other stuff. We left a lot of it there in the kitchen for like community stuff, just because we had been able to use some things in other hostel kitchens that we didn't have, but it was like the community olive oil or salts or whatever. So we just decided to pay it forward and leave our stuff there instead of taking it home, because we could no longer take liquids, and why would I want to take a bottle of olive oil from Tesco? I don't know. So I have olive oil at home. So had our last night there. It was great. The next morning we were packing up and getting ready to get on the bus to go to the airport. It didn't seem like we were going home. It just seemed like we were going to be moving on to the next place. It was kind of trippy, and so we all weren't like filled with this heavy sadness or anything. We were just like, yeah, we're doing what we do every morning, getting ready to move on. So it was kind of weird, and we actually like got on a plane and went home. It was just we were kind of like spaced out, and we took some pictures. There's one last picture of us when we got to the airport. Our parents took a picture, and we were all happy to be home, tired, whatever. It was a fantastic trip. We had such a good time, learned a lot about where I want to go back and what to do, and I've since gone on another trip, Jared and I have, so I feel like I'm much more confident at planning now. But we also did have, I don't know, it was just really awesome to have that experience. It was also trippy to come home and have missed that much time at home. Like, a whole bunch of things happen, because when you're in another part of the world, you get different news, you hear different news, so there was a lot of things, like, I felt like I didn't know that went on in my like local area, my home area. I was like, what do you mean? And it was kind of trippy, since we had been driving on the other side of the road for a couple weeks. We didn't drive home, but we rode home, and I was so tired. I was freaking out. I yelled at my mom. She drove, like, my brother and I rode home with my mom, and I was like, Mom, you're on the wrong side of the road. And she's like, I am not. But it, you know, that's where I had just been, was people driving on the opposite side, so I was a little freaked out. But it was an awesome trip. I hope you guys enjoyed listening to me blab about it. And my next trip that I will be talking about is my college choir trip to Estonia in 1999. Jared and I were both on that trip. That is the first trip I ever took out of the country. I was 18 years old, so I'm going to warn you, I was a crazy person. There are some pretty funny stories. I think they're funny. I had a fantastic time, but I was an idiot, and so there's just a lot of me looking stupid too. And the pictures are photo pictures, so I have to spend some more time scanning the rest of them in, because I scanned in mine, but Jared has his own set of pictures because we were not together at the time, so we have two separate experiences. And I did not keep a journal, so I do have to spend some time compiling, like, these stories, making sure they're in order, because I don't want to tell you just random stories, but it's going to be less of like a, this is how you should do things when you go to Estonia, and more of a, oh my gosh, this funny thing happened. So hopefully you guys will enjoy that. And I know this was a long video, but it was the wrapping it up video. So anyway, I don't know how much time it's going to be till the next video, but hopefully not too much. I will be working on it. But anyway, until next time, I'll talk to you guys later. Keep your eyes open. I'm hoping it's not going to be more than maybe 2 or 3 weeks before I get the Estonia trip started. So I guess I will talk to you guys later. Bye.